I'd like to bring this meeting of the Brick Township Council to order. Madam Clerk?
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on June 29, 2021. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspapers, posted on the public bulletin boards, and on the Township website.
Thank you. Roll call?
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Here.
Councilman Menachino.
Here.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Here.
Councilman Momolo.
Here.
Councilman Pontiero.
Oh,
That was good.
she made it.
Vice President Halloran.
Here.
President Crate.
Here. I'll wait for you to get up. I don't want to rush you. Okay. At this time, we will have a salute to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we are on to the consent agenda. Madam Clerk?
All matters listed under the item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Resolution 4-1.
Authorized cancellation of stale dated checks.
Council Vice President Halloran.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the cancellation of a stale dated check in the amount of $10. Thank you.
Resolution 4-2.
Authorized cancellation of grant appropriated reserves and receivables.
Ms. Bergen?
Sure. This resolution authorizes the cancellation of grant appropriated reserves and receivables in programs where the funds cannot be spent within the contract period.
Thank you. Resolution 4-3.
Authorized receipt of bids, purchase and delivery of sign materials.
This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for the purchase and delivery of sign materials. This bid is for an item per item basis for the purchase and delivery of sign supplies to include sign blanks, pre-made signs, street signs, stencils, and ink cartridges used by the Township Sign Shop. To date, the Township had an approximate expenditure of $68,000 during this current 2-year contract period, which will expire on February 12, 2022. Resolution 4-4.
Authorized receipt of bids, tree trimming, removal, and disposal services.
Councilman Momolo.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for tree trimming, removal, and disposal service. This bid is for all necessary tree trimming, removal, and disposal that cannot be done in-house. Work will include removal of dead, dying, diseased, interfering, objectionable, or weak branches, and a complete removal of the entire tree, including the grinding or removal of the stump and all exposed roots to the depth of 6 inches below the adjacent existing ground level. Chips removed and replaced with fill dirt upon request. The Township had an approximate expenditure of $32,000 during the current 2-year contract period with Falkenberg Tree Expert Company. The contract will expire January 28, 2022. Thank you.
Resolution 4-5.
Authorized award of contract through New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program, purchase and delivery of access security cameras.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the award of a contract to Fastenal in the amount of $77,433.55 for the purchase and delivery of Axis security cameras. The Axis camera station is the new server and software used to store and view security cameras used by the Township of Brick at the following locations: Town Hall, Windward Beach, Sherman Park, Freedy Park, Ocean Beaches 1 and 3, and Traders Cove Marina. This contract is being awarded through the New Jersey Cooperative Pricing Program. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 4-6.
Authorized award of contract through New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program, radio infrastructure equipment.
Councilwoman Pontiero.
Thank you, Madam President. This resolution authorizes an award of contract to PMC Associates in the amount of $737,631.56. Let's try that again. $737,631.56. for radio infrastructure equipment needed for our first responders. This project was a multi-year investment funded in 2019, 2020, and now in 2021 capital. This is the final phase of this project. This contract is being awarded through the New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 47.
Authorize execution of agreement to join New Jersey Sustainable Energy Joint Meeting.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes execution of an agreement for the Township to join the New Jersey Sustainable Joint Meeting for the purpose of joining with other local units in the state to aggregate purchasing power of energy so as to achieve financial savings and to encourage local units to cooperate in seeking ways to jointly implement sustainable energy alternatives.
Thank you. Resolution 48.
Authorize execution of a Schedule C agreement with County of Ocean for 2022.
Councilman Menachino.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract for the provision of certain government services with the County of Ocean as part of a Scheduled C agreement. The agreement includes funds needed to participate in interlocal agreements for roads, engineering, vehicle service as needed basis throughout the year.
Thank you. Resolution 49.
Authorize execution of Memorandum of Understanding Homeland Security Grant.
Councilwoman Pontarera.
Thank you again, Madam President. This resolution authorizes the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the Township of Brick and the County of Ocean FY21 Homeland Security Grant, as award to the county from the State of New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety. The county will reimburse the township in an amount not to exceed $10,000 for the purchase of a UAS drone for the police department. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 410.
Authorize appointment of one commissioner to the Btmua.
This resolution authorizes the appointment of Paul Mumolo as a member of the Brick Township Municipal Utilities Authority to fill an unexpired term ending January 31st, 2022. Resolution 411. Madam Clerk?
Restoration bond release for David Nemchek on Riviera Drive in the amount of $11,250.
Thank you. Resolution 412. Ms. Bergen?
Thank you. 12A are tax overpayments for 2021. There is one, Block 701, Lot 9.05, in the amount of $2,587.39. 12B is tax overpayments for 2022. There is one, Block 1042, Lot 13, in the amount of $957.35.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of our consent agenda. Can I get a motion and second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Closed council, open to public for questions on the resolutions only. Ms. Call?
Ann Call, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. I'd also like to, before I address my questions are, to point out that the consent agenda says if anybody wants further discussion, anybody, it doesn't say any council member, it should be pulled from the consent agenda and discussed more thoroughly. I know that last week or the week before, I sent a letter, an open letter to Loretta Weinberg, who authored the Open Public Meetings Act, and explained it exactly as I had explained it without knowing that she had sent a letter to the Asbury Park Press probably 2 years before my words here about the fact that, in particular, we should know why you vote yea or nay. And as a consent agenda, it is a given that you're going to vote yea. And yet, you've never discussed it in front of us, and that's wrong. Back in the days of the extortionist Scarpelli, he actually did do things where 1 week we had the caucus and we discussed everything to death. There was no questions in our mind. Nothing had been left unaddressed that we needed addressed. And then the next week, we didn't use a consent agenda, but it would have been a perfect time to have certain items as a consent agenda, knowing that some of the council would not vote for it. So it still hasn't changed in the years since it changed from the Republicans to the Democrats, although it started before that. So now, one of the things that bothers me, and I'm not necessarily taking them in numerical order, is Resolution 5, the security cameras. I think that's the one. Or is that the one for the drones? I can't tell. I have very
It's the security
small print.
cameras. Mhm.
When are the drones going to be used? How are they going to be used? And where
Are you asking about the
think-
drones or the cameras?
are the drones?
Okay,
So maybe it's not that number.
that's okay.
The cameras, I'm not sure. I think you at least gave a legitimate explanation of what the resolution said, as I recall. That you did mention where they were gonna be, some parks, et cetera, where that would make sense. But last night I happened to go out and look up, and I think I saw a drone, and it's not the first time that I think I saw a drone. And this one was moving rather quickly. I went in before I could see exactly where it went when it left my view, which was basically thinking it was over possibly Greenbrier, the original, not Greenbrier 2, but it even may have curbed it. And I really wonder every time I see these in the sky what they're looking at and how much they're looking at. It's very concerning to me. So I'd like more information on when, how, where, and why they're going to be used. You did a pretty good job about the tree removal services. Although some of these resolutions really should have been a discussion with the people so that we could raise questions and or elicit more information from you, or give you information we might know that would have changed a yea to a nay. The Sustainable Energy Joint Meeting. I'd like some facts about this. How this came about, what was done at the meeting that I think it references, where it was recommended. Maybe we don't all agree with the decision that was arrived at that secret meeting that you had that we can't know about.
It wasn't secret.
What?
I don't believe it was secret.
Well, it is secret if you don't tell me about it, because this is where I come for information. I can't anymore go all over the world looking to get the information about what you're doing here in this town. And that's ridiculous. When I'm seeking information,
I'm not stopping you, I'm just asking,
have
I'm
no
waiting for you
right.
to guess the question.
It shouldn't be beeping. The roads. You gave a little bit of information. I have been very, very upset. I don't know how much money was spent, probably by the county, not out of our
Which
fund.
number are you referring to here?
The resolution says of the township, Schedule C agreement with the County of Ocean for 2022.
Thank you.
Whatever number it is, I don't have it on this paper. Every time I drive over the parkway to go from Greenbrier 2 to the Dorado Plaza, it really irks me how much money was spent, and it wasn't even the county, I guess, it was the state authority. But everything that happens in Brick, somebody from Brick government should be at these meetings and discussing it.
8 doesn't have anything to do with the roads, though.
That does.
Number 8, no, well, it does and it doesn't. It has to do with if there's, isn't it true, if there's machinery available for us to use and it's in the vicinity where we could use it to work on some of our roads, then that's the agreement that we've come to, that we can use the machinery.
But you should be in conversation about any work that's done.
Well, that's,
And I
I'm just telling you what
suggest-
this is
I
about.
suggest you read the E-code and find out that when the county, who has some of the roads, and even the state, it should be all three of you discussing what's going to be done and do what's best for the state, the county, and the township.
Do you have anything else on the consent agenda?
I don't know yet. But every time I go there, we, the people, paid. And John Sluka would tell you, the people paid with many health ailments for it. And what did they do? They didn't widen the overpass.
Do you have
They
anything
didn't-
else for the consent agenda,
I
though?
said I don't know. I'm
Well,
still
can-
on this
that's what we're-
subject.
But that's not part of the consent agenda, so I'm going to ask you
It
very
is.
kindly to find what
It
you have
is.
questions about on the consent agenda, and then anything else you'd like to say, we
There's
we
a lot
invite you
else
back
that I
up for
want to
public
say,
comments.
and I don't want to go back over the roads. The Homeland Security, let me see. How is the money going to be used? I didn't get an idea from it.
From number 9, that was for the drone.
I have no idea. For the police department.
Mhm.
But we don't know exactly what with the police department.
It's for the drone. It's for the drone.
And Mr. Mumolo is being appointed to fill out a term of whom? Who was on there, that is no longer on there, that Mr. Mumolo is going to be filling the term?
Michael
Michael
Blandini.
Blandina.
Has resigned.
Michael Blandina has resigned. Is there a reason that Michael resigned?
It could be personal.
I don't know.
There was no reason
I
particular.
thought maybe he was up for an elected office and succeeded. I believe he's not living in Brick anymore. I met him in ShopRite or somewhere. I have no idea what the number is. It has to do with whereas Daniel Nemchek guaranteed, and he completed.
That's our bond release.
Bond release, so he completed the work satisfactorily, evidently. And the tax collector is advising that there were overpayments on taxes. Looks like there's 2 of them. So you haven't answered the questions as I put them forth, which would have been the logical way to do it, but why should I expect logic?
Mr. Foster?
Sam Foster, 108 Chico Drive. Oops. Didn't mean to do that, I'm sorry. Aren't the council members, aren't you glad to, I was gonna make a joke, but I better not. I wanna stay on good terms with you. On good terms with you. I don't have trouble with my chest cup. Anyway, 3 quick points. One is I wanted to reiterate what Ms. Call said about the consent agenda. All matters listed, because like I said in the past, I do attend Township council meetings, and when they have the consent agenda, they do ask, first they ask the council, then they ask the public if anybody wants any comments, and they do set aside, like I said, I myself did that myself, and they did set aside, because sometimes there's perspectives that we have that you don't have, specifically with the with the marijuana. Just like Brick banned the sale of marijuana, Township did too, but I brought up the fact that I'm a DoorDash delivery driver, in the way that they had worded their ordinance, it made it sound like a delivery driver could be criminally prosecuted for going through the town. So they pulled it, rewrote it, and then submitted it was okay. So I think that we should, there should be a person create, you should ask, if anybody wants to make comments before going through it. Because like I said, just from that standpoint. Now, on subject of the drones, I remember I spoke a couple of years ago, I says, suggested the police get drones, and people kind of laughed at me, but on that subject now, the FCC, I don't know about the current thing here, but I know the FCC does have a federal requirement that if your drone is of a certain type, it has to be registered with the FCC.
I think all of them do.
I'm sorry?
I think all of them do.
No,
I'm
not
sure
some
of
of
that.
the example. It has to be a certain ability of it. I'm sorry? The distance that it can go and the height. It has to be registered because it could interfere, especially here, because Lakewood Airport, we do have the flight pattern does go right here. And I live in Birchwood Park, and I know it's kind of funny, kind of spooky. I'm cutting my grass in the summer, and the Coast Guard helicopters are practically at treetop level. It's kind of scary. You just thump, 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 thump. There they are, right above the head. I can practically see them. But I just wanted to ask if the township has taken precautions that the drones that is it one drone or multiple? One drone?
It's a grant not to exceed $10,000, so it says for purchase of a drone,
Yeah.
I imagine it's a,
You good one, that price.
yeah.
But just wanted to make sure that we do comply with the FCC. We don't have somebody that is going to go to a height that's going to interfere with the Lakewood Airport, because that could get the township in trouble. See, this is one of those things that if you had asked before the consent agenda started, I could have mentioned this before you actually voted, but I don't think you've actually voted on this yet, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. All right. Quick question about Councilman Mamalo. I did attend a BTMUA meeting several months ago, and I was speaking before the meeting with Ms. Bergen, Mrs. Bergen, about that, and I know that they did. I said, I asked him. I says, "Where's Councilman Mamalo?" I thought he was.
I'm the liaison.
Yeah, you're the liaison there. So, question I have for this, I know that I didn't meet Mr. Blandina there. I think he was re-elected to a political position in town. But my question about Mr. Councilman Mamalo is, your term as councilman expires on, before your term as the MUA expires. Now, I'm a little bit, I'm not very knowledgeable about this, so you can fill me in on this. Does when you appoint a commissioner, does the commissioner have to be a member of the council, or can be just anybody?
No,
Okay,
it could be
that-
any, as long as they live in Brick Township.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that. That's why I want to ask about that. And let me see here. I don't know if this is public comments or not. Did you go into the? No, this is about the infrastructure bill, but none of this on the. Does any of these resolutions have anything to do with the infrastructure bill passed by Congress?
No.
Okay, I have a question about that. About specifically what we're going to be getting, if anything, because Christmas is coming around. I shouldn't put it that way. They're going to yell at me during their commissioner meeting, county commissioner meeting. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, may I have the floor very briefly to
Sure.
address one of Mr. Foster's concerns?
Sure.
Mr. Foster, you raised the issue that you spoke about drones several years ago and kind of made a joke. You don't know if we took it seriously. It was taken seriously. In fact, it was brought into the Public Safety Committee and put on the agenda, so we did discuss at length the potential future of drones and what they could be utilized for. So I did want to assure you that that comment that you made was taken seriously. And
Yeah, I understand. I did
Okay.
mention that it does, in the past, that they are used for search and rescue, and this is just for the police department. But thank you. I was more concerned about, since we are in the Lakewood Airport, we do have that flight pattern to be concerned about, and FCC does regulate drones going a certain height and
we went
distance.
through all of the federal regulations and all of the similar regulations for
Yep.
other states when we raised.
Okay, all right, thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Thank you. Anyone else for questions on the consent agenda? Seeing none, close public, roll call?
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Mamalo.
Abstain 410, yes to the rest.
Councilwoman Polgero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Abstain 10, yes to the rest.
President Crate.
Yes. We are on to computer bill resolution.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and the clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $22,247,831.05.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Closed council, open to public for questions on the computer bill resolution only. Closed public, roll call.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Mendocino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Mamalo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontiero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Yes.
President Crate.
Yes. 414, bill resolution, manual bill resolution.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid, and that the mayor and the clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurers for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $3,412,063.33.
Can I get a motion and second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Closed council, open to public for questions on the manual bill resolution. Closed public, roll call.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Mendocino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Mamalo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontiero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Yes.
President Crate.
Yes. We are on to public comments.
Sorry. Getting there. Please note that each person addressing the council during each section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to the Brick Township Administrative Code, Section 2-33B.
Thank you. Anyone from public? Mr. Sluka?
Good evening. I'm going to read my letter, November 5th, to the mayor, council president, and all the council people. Okay, now that the election is over, we need to get things right for the people of Brick, Ocean County, and the state. Yes, I unfortunately expect very little from the government, rulers in the State House, but that does not mean nothing should or cannot get done. I'm not sure if anyone at all at the State House even cares about the shore area, and I believe the vote of the 2021 reflected what most people think. From unwanted, unneeded, unscientific mandates to just out-and-out ruling party directives, things need to change. There is no scientific data that states that children should be locked behind masks, and there is a need for unwanted restrictions placed on adults who are supposed to be free. The masks in schools are forced mandated, and vaccinations are a disgrace ordered upon us by the rulers of the federal and state government. We have let the government rulers take away our freedoms for years, and this continues to plague our country. Many people believe this is something new, but the state-sanctioned bureaucracy has led us down this atrocious path for years. Mandates and state-sponsored lobbyists have created havoc for us all. Now mandates, rulings, and rules have taken away our freedoms, and more people are noticing, and this is not new. As an example, let us not forget the decree of 10 years ago, which forced toxins into the lungs of thousands of New Jersey residents. Nothing of substance has been done, while there is obviously a need for a wall and various replantings in area of the toxic air surrounding the Garden State Parkway. New Jersey Turnpike Authority Commissioners made a horrible decision nearly 10 years ago by not considering the neighborhood surrounding the ill-conceived expansion of the parkway. These people followed their orders from the lobbyists. It was about 10 years ago that they started to increase illnesses including COPD, asthma, emphysema, autism, and even killed some residents. This is the result of the poorly planned expansion of the Garden State Parkway and followed the orders of these lobbyists who continue to reap the ill-gotten gains from their income. Increased forestation and high pollution, safety and noise wheels are needed in various areas of Brick and Ocean County. Although this will not end the problem, it will at least mitigate the ill effects of the damaging pollutants forced upon the citizenry by the commissioners of the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. The uncaring actions of the commissioners on the parkway adjacent to the areas of Evergreen Woods, Brick High School, Town Hall, Briar Mills, Sutton Village, Primrose Garden, Greenbrier, Birchwood Park have created many illnesses here in Brick, and construction of the wall and increased natural barriers are a complete necessity. The council administration should consider the health and wellness of the citizens and make it their highest priority. It is time when the administration steps up for citizens in so many areas, especially this area. Thank you for your time. I yield back a minute 43. John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Mr. Foster?
Sam Foster, 108 Chico Drive. I'm going to ask about the infrastructure bill. I want to know if there's any money in there for Brick Township as far as anything in there. I know we don't have as many bridges as other places like Point Pleasant. I think Manalacan Bridge was redone within the last 5 years. I think it was,
Manalacan?
the Manalacan Bridge. I think that was replaced because it's now the old one is a fishing pier now.
Yeah.
But we don't have that many bridges in town, I know, aside from that. It's the only main one I know, except for the one going over Route 70 by the restaurant there. Is any money coming from infrastructure to Brick Township itself, or is that pretty much going to the state and county?
I don't think any of that's been determined yet.
You don't know?
Yeah.
Way too early.
Okay.
Do you-
Yeah, so
do you have-
we're a, so the first round, the CARES Act money that came in, that went directly to towns that qualify. We're one of the towns in the country that qualify. We get direct funding from the federal government for those types of things. So infrastructure money will be direct funding to us. What the amount is, they haven't passed yet. But the smaller towns, Manalacan, Point Pleasant, Manasquan, you name it, the smaller towns, they have to go through the state to get money. The bigger towns, us, Toms River, Lakewood, Trenton, Newark, Jersey City, we get direct funding. There's probably 15 of us, maybe 15, or it could be up to 20, but in the state of New Jersey. Everybody else has to go through the state, and it's double layers of government, but we don't have to go through that, luckily.
Gotcha, okay, thank you for that. I was just curious as to whether this would help us with a cost of improving road improvements, or if it's geared towards more like bridges and major things, or
It's roads is what we're looking,
Yeah.
that's what we're
Yeah,
looking to
'cause I
fund.
know there's some
Elevating
some
roads,
areas-
paving roads.
Yeah, and by the way, you've done a great job, Mayor, with the roads in town. They are, I mean, it used to be, I remember in the 70s, 80s when I first got my license. I don't know how many times I had to go to the repair shop to have my front end lined or have a tire replaced because I hit a pothole or the roads were so bad. It was like, like a rumble strip the whole road, but the roads are kept in pretty good shape in town. And, but there's always some place in town that does need it, but I just wanted to ask about that, so thank
Yeah,
you.
so the town owns roads. We don't really own, the bridges are owned by the county or
Ah.
state, depending on where they are.
So-
So money for bridges would be, if it's a county bridge, like Manalacan Road,
Wasn't the Manalacan Bridge replaced with township money, or was that,
no, that's county.
that was county?
County.
money?
They probably got federal grants, but it's
Yeah.
federal grants that went to the county and the county. So, yeah, we don't own any stoplights in town.
Okay.
Those are all county or state. Same thing with bridges.
Yeah, does that, and I call it a
Very
bridge.
few. We have a couple bridges.
I call
one
it a
in Lake
bridge, but it's really
Riviera.
like an overpass, I'm talking about Route 70, where that restaurant is, where Pilot House used to be, it's now Beacon 70.
Yeah, that's a state
By Ford's-
bridge.
That's state, okay.
Yep.
I wasn't sure about that.
Route
So we have no
70.
bridges, it's gonna be road improvements then?
What?
It's just gonna be, we would only qualify,
Yeah.
use it for road.
Road
Okay, that's
elevations,
fine.
road paving.
Yeah, it should help us with our taxes, because instead of it coming out of the budget, we'd get it from the grant money.
Yeah, I can't-
Ultimately, it's our tax money anyway, but since it's government, I shouldn't look at it that way. It's all coming out of our pocket, some way, all around the way, but
It's much better if we share the cost with Iowa and
Yeah.
Nevada and everywhere else, yes.
that's the American way, right? Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Call?
Nan Call, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. And I'm going to start by saying that I arrived in this town and was first introduced to the idea of attending a council meeting by Mr. Richard Gross. And I have since learned that he didn't know a thing about what he was speaking, much to my regret. I was given no information when I moved into the town. The association did not follow the appropriate legislation for me to have certain information before I even signed the contract or definitely between contract and closing. And it was never given to me. It's in the law. There was a time, in fact, I'm happy to see you, Mr. Keneally, when you responded to Mr. Gross's letter where I had 15 statements about an election that had several travesties of how it was run, and you said that in reviewing the documentation Richard got from me, that our bylaws were really very vague and ambiguous and recommended they be tightened up. Sorry to tell you, to this date, it has never been properly redone, and many of them have not conforming to law. I have learned everything by scraping every bit of information I could, by traveling all over the state, by attending meetings held by Senator Ron Rice about homeowner associations, about going to Trenton and lobbying, and going even one time to Senator Sweeney's office on a matter. I also had lobbied for something to be done about school funding and went with, I think at that time it was Mel, I can't think of his last name, as the superintendent. He was there for an interim appointment. That said, I want to tell you, I was not born at 11 o'clock, but I was born on the 11th day of the 11th month in a year that qualifies me to say I am part of the greatest generation. It happened to be a couple of weeks before Pearl Harbor got bombed. So you see, I am quite an old lady, but I still know how to read. I have learned computers from working with them on mainframes and then small computers. I know how to try to get the information, and I know that this township doesn't even use proper naming conventions for their website. I really think you do a disservice because everybody wants every resident to rely on technology. The old people in all the age-restricted communities that haven't died off or left don't know how to turn the computer on. And I know people that I've worked with that truly didn't. If you're going to do that, you better educate all of us. In addition, when our Constitution, which you all took an oath to abide by, was written, there wasn't even a lot of written material available to the average people. But then again, most citizens weren't allowed to vote. I don't know when you signed up to vote. I had to wait till after the birth of my second child. Since my birthday falls beyond Election Day, my second child was about a year old before I qualified for the age, which was then 21, not 18. I had to show proof that I was literate, namely my high school diploma, to be able to sign up to register for the vote. Today, we have people in very high elected offices that want to give it to people that don't even know how to sign their name. And I know you're going to cut me off, so the last thing I'm going to say, and I'm very sorry, and tell Antonio not to watch because he'll be upset. You mentioned that you now can call yourself disabled. Not by the definitions I know. When I arrived here, one of the first things I did after finding out how bad my homeowner association was take an opportunity to ask the Assemblyman Chris Smith when he had a town hall meeting here, but it was an individual meeting with people, and so I put my questions in rather than take the place of a woman who had been hurt with the anthrax in the Hamilton post office and gave her my spot. And I asked two questions. Is there any place where I can advocate for the disabled? And Mr. Smith's people got back to me and told me, is there any oversight over homeowner associations? And they told me DCA. Sad to say, I called the man at DCA, who told me I should call a grassroots organization, the Common Interest Homeowners Coalition, which is defunct basically. There is a website for it still. And the reason I was interested in the disabled, you don't qualify by the definition. You are still performing your
Ms.
everyday.
Call, I need you to.
You-
You're being. This is. I'm going to ask you to
Excuse
please
me.
stop. No, I'm sorry. That's enough.
Excuse me.
You're not going to stand up there.
Look up the definition of a
You're
disability.
finished. Your time is up. Please have a seat.
I
And
am
I'd like
going
you to
to
please
give-
not
I'm not.
say
I'm
completely
not.
what you were going to say.
I am going to give 3 pictures to the secretary. In this first one, you will see a beautiful young woman. She's my mother.
Ms.
The,
Call.
the little girl with her has Down syndrome.
Okay, thank
And
you.
I'll tell you sometime the story of what happened to
I'm
her.
sure you will.
She was disabled.
Ms. Call,
The young
again,
man
I'm going to ask you to please
is
stop.
the sixth
You
of
can
the
give
7
everything
children,
that you want to give to the
And he was
secretary,
a
and please have a
policeman in
seat.
New York City who had to retire when he got MS. And the third is a picture of my husband, myself, and my son, whom you can't see the wheelchair because my other son sat him on a regular chair. But he's completely disabled.
Thank you.
And you
yes.
insult me.
No, excuse me.
When you
are
claim-
being insulting right now. I would like you to please
Excuse me,
finish
that's a
and have a
matter
seat.
of your opinion.
Yes, it is, and
which
I'm going
is
to
not
ask you to sit
correct.
down as
Look
council
up
council
the
president.
definition of a disability.
I certainly
She's
do not need to.
performing
Please have a
her
seat.
everyday ability.
I'm going to ask you to please have a seat.
May I have the floor?
How about, can we just see if
No,
there's anyone else?
I have
Yeah, just
a
like take a
right
breath.
to address
Yes.
an issue, and I'm going to. May I have the
Go ahead.
floor? Thank you.
I think I gave you 2 when the third one wasn't mentioned.
Just wait till, yeah.
The second one behind.
Fine. I have nothing.
Is there anyone else from public, sir? Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Ducey, the administration, our esteemed council, and congratulations on your recent elections.
Thank you.
200 Van Zyl. October 13th and 27th have come and gone, and we were expecting a court-ordered complete site plan and application to be submitted. Who decided that only a partial site plan needed to be submitted? Was it the judge, or was it negotiated by Brick's lawyer?
It wasn't a decision that Brick Township made. They made that submission, and then there was the motion before the judge. And the judge ultimately decided we would have a special hearing. He tasked Brick Township with setting that date, with ensuring that there would be 7 members, and gave the applicant an opportunity at some point this week to file a complete application, which would be heard before the Board of Adjustment. So that's beyond a site plan. There's also a variance involved. So they have this week to submit their full application, and we have done what the judge directed us to do, which was set the special meeting date.
So this week, we're going to get the traffic study, we're going to get the full site plan, the full application, everything that,
No, they'll submit their application. A traffic study's not part of an application. That would be part of the testimony that they present to the Board of Adjustment on December the 20th.
so they will submit, they submit it in advance to us, or?
They submit their application to the board to be heard,
Right.
and it outlines the variance and what they're intending to do, and the site plan is part of that as well, but that doesn't necessarily include a traffic study. That would be part of the testimony provided before the board.
Okay, so we won't get any traffic study before then?
No, you will not.
Okay. What if he doesn't submit the full application this week? And I know there's a November 19th case management conference, but what if he doesn't do it? There's been a lot of not doings up until now. Do we take a position? Do we?
Well, we need time. The township's professionals would need time from the submission of that application to write their reports and to prepare themselves for the board meeting. So if they do not meet the deadline that the judge set for the submission, that creates a hardship for us to be prepared for December 20th. So I would expect our attorney would vehemently stress how difficult it is for them not to have met that deadline. The judge was very clear on his expectations.
Right, and the big key is the school stays closed. That's the
good thing, right?
That's the key to the whole thing, is the judge has said the school will stay closed. So that's what we asked for, and the judge has been with us with that.
And does do we start giving them courtesy reviews on partial site plans, or do we wait till everything's submitted before doing anything?
We wait till we have a proper submission.
Proper submission, okay. 91 Hendrickson, and I guess this is addressed to Mayor Ducey. I do have some serious questions about the municipal court prosecutor that you appointed, given that this court matter has gone for 2 months now. And I find it almost unfathomable at this point that the BRIC prosecutor couldn't provide discovery documents to David Cluck's lawyer, Adam Pfeffer, in a timely fashion. And that's in the 2 weeks from the last delay by Gluck. I believe this delay fell squarely on the prosecutor's inability to provide the materials that she said she provided by email. And I know that these documents or the submission had to be big and more than 10 megabytes. So I know that 10 megabytes, they wouldn't be getting the email going through, as she was saying. And you know, I just find it disconcerting. And there's over a month to provide discovery. So I'm hoping that you will oversee the delivery of the materials by December 13th, so that this will continue the process and that they can at least give their not guilty plea, so this can move forward a little bit.
Yes.
But I just felt that you should know that people were very upset about the prosecutor, and not, it doesn't fall on your shoulders, but you can say something because she does work for you. Now we've talked about in the previous meeting $0 to $2,000 a day, and can someone tell me when the notice of violation went out for 91 Hendrickson?
If you want to call tomorrow, we can get you the
I
date.
don't have the file.
Okay. Because I just want to gauge when the notice, when the start of the fines were going. Trying to get you a new park mayor, so we just want to.
Yeah, you got, and then the thing, our code enforcement still goes out there every so often.
Right.
There has not been overcrowding for.
They moved
for,
out
for many,
I guess,
many days.
The
way back
8th or 10th of September for the holidays and never came back.
Right. So the violation is.
So I'm figuring it's a finite set there, but I'm just trying to calculate what kind of park we can get. So that was another one of my concerns, and thank you. And for Mr. Momolo, I believe you're retiring from the council, and you appear to be a good man from what I've read over the years. And I want to thank you for your service to BRIC. So respectfully to all, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Foster?
Sam Foster, 100 Chico Drive. Thank you for letting me speak again. I still have a few minutes, so I'm going to make this quick. First of all, I'm glad that man reminded me. Councilman Momolo, you've been a good councilman for over 40 years, and I hope that whatever you decide to do, I hope you're successful with it, politics or whatever. Although I think you're too nice to be involved in politics, so I think you should take up a nice hobby, fishing or chess. Hey, chess. Yeah, 2 weeks, Township Chess Club. Drop by. Tell them Sam Foster sent you. They'll throw you out. Okay, no. And a quick point about what Ms. Collins was talking about. I didn't quite, something about I didn't quite understand, but I just wanted to clarify something about disability. I'm a disabled person. I went through the process, and I know that the Americans with Disabilities Act, which covers disabilities, states a disability is someone is determined to be disabled, and I went in front of an administrative law judge who made a ruling. When their disability or injury has such a severe impact on that it has a major impact on one or more aspects of their life and or prevents them from working full-time. For example, I work part-time for DoorDash, it's all I can do. I can't work full-time. I tried to book a job right, and it didn't lasted 2 weeks because I put my back out. So I'm a disabled person, I'm allowed to work part-time, but the amount of time I'm able, even though I'm working, I'm still a disabled person. In fact, I believe this council, did we have something recently about oh yes, we did. I think it was the last council meeting where the council had something about disability. Yeah, Councilman DeYoung, because I asked not to someone, but Lynette about that. And I believe Nan Cowell, I was referred to Nan Cowell because I was told she was on that committee. But it's important for people to understand. There was something about workplace employers being encouraged to hire disabled people. So despite someone is working, they can still work as long as the disability that they're suffering from, for example, me, I'm not going to mention all my problems. I don't want to bore everybody, and it's depressing to talk about. If it has a major impact and prevents somebody from working full-time, or if it has a major negative impact on their daily lifestyle, one or more issues, then it's there's a disability that's going to Americans with Disabilities Act and the appropriate case law. And I know, because I went through the process, and I saw poked and prodded by so many different doctors, it's ridiculous. And in fact, I got a letter from the Social Security Administration I have to fill out, asking me, has there been any improvement, and if what is happening, I have to tell them, you know what, I'm not going to babble too much, I babble too much. But again, thank you, Councilman Craig. But as a disabled person, I just wanted to point that out. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from public? Seeing none, close public, and we're on to council comments. Ms. Bergen?
No, thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody here at Town Hall on November 11th is our Veterans Day ceremony at 11 o'clock a.m. Unfortunately, I will not be there this year. I'm going to be at the Art Center at the Vietnam Memorial because Brick Township has been given the privilege of receiving an award for We Salute Veterans. There was a point system of discounts for veterans at stores, meetings with veterans, veterans activities and things like that, and we were one of very few towns in New Jersey that is getting this award. It's the first time it's ever given out, so I will be there to accept that award. But we still do have our ceremony going on here at Town Hall that Council President Crate will be at, and will be standing in for me giving some words. So thank you. Happy birthday to Nan Cole on November 11th as well. And thank you to the voters of Brick for having confidence in me and allowing me to serve for another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Council?
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
Madam Clerk?
No, thank you.
Madam Secretary?
Nothing, thanks.
Councilwoman Zapsik?
I have nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilman Menachino?
Thank you. It's that time of year again. The leaves are falling. So I'm going to remind everybody that it's leaf collection time. It's underway. It started. If your recycling day is Monday, your leaves will be collected November 22nd and December 27th. If your recycling day is Tuesday, your leaves will be they were collected, so you missed it. So on November 1st and beginning on December 6th. If your recycling day is Thursday, your leaves were collected yesterday, so you missed it again. Sorry. I do one show a day. And they'll begin again on December 13th. If your recycling day is Friday, your leaves will be collected November 15th and December 27th. Please have your bagged leaves by the curb by 6 a.m. on the day of the collection. Leaves only in the bags, no branches, twigs, or other garbage. Definitely no pizza boxes. Bags cannot weigh more than 50 pounds. Biodegradable paper and plastic bags are acceptable. Plastic bags will be opened, emptied in the truck, and left on the curb. Bags may also be brought to Brick Township Public Work Recycling Center on Ridge Road, Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Leaves are also accepted at the Ocean County Recycling Center in New Hampshire Avenue venue in Lakewood. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. It's very entertaining and informative. Councilwoman Dean?
Yes, thank you. I just want to remind people that it is open enrollment for Medicare for our seniors. So if you need to make an appointment with seniors, please call 732-920-8686. They are also offering on Wednesday, November 17th, flu and pneumonia vaccines from 10 to 2. Again, I would call seniors just to make sure that there isn't, you must register for that. I'm not entirely sure. And also on Friday, November 19th, is the senior Thanksgiving event from 10 to 12. You must register for that event, so please call seniors at 732-920-8686 to register for the Thanksgiving event, or also make your Medicare appointments and or flu and vaccine appointments. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Mumolo.
Yes, thank you. All I have is congratulations, Mayor, on your reelection, Councilwoman DeYoung, and Councilwoman Ponferrero. Doing a great job. Thank you. Continue without me. That's it for me.
Councilwoman Ponferrero.
Thank you. First, I want to congratulate the two potential awards that our town has been nominated for through the State of New Jersey Emergency Services. We don't find out if we actually win until November the 12th. The first award is for outstanding EMS action by a program. It honors a program or a team on the same incident for an outstanding call or incident or rescue by EMS clinicians. And then the second one we could get an award for is the EMS Community Service Award, which recognizes a program or mobile health care group who has made an outstanding commitment to non-patient community outreach in EMS. So we have these two great awards, both stemming from the wonderful men and women who serve our town through EMS. So if you could do a little prayer that they win, that would be fabulous. Second, it's important for all people with disabilities to understand that no one has the right to judge a disability based on what they see. The government has that right, and that's all. You don't owe anyone else an explanation. If you fall under the protection of the Americans with Disabilities Act, it's very clear. Stage 4 cancer is a disabling event. Unfortunately, 3 more tumors have been found for me, 1 in my lungs and 2 in my neck. So I have a biopsy coming up, and I would appreciate very greatly any extra prayers that anyone can throw my way. I've beat cancer now twice, and if I have to beat it a 3rd time, I'm going to keep beating it because I have 3 children who need me. And last, I want to thank the 13,206 people in Brick who voted for me to stay in this position for what I think will be my last term. But I want to thank everyone who also voted for Mayor Ducey, for Heather DeYoung, and also for Derek D'Ambrosio, who, although he didn't make enough votes to make it on council, really is a wonderful person, and I have no doubt he will eventually be sitting here, and I think the residents of Brick will be very pleased. He's a person who, like all of us, legitimately cares about our town. So thank you all for taking out the time to vote, whether you did it by early mailing or in person. I know that there were problems with the new program, and I thank you all for doing what you had to do to assert your rights as citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Vice President.
Thank you, Council President. Excuse me. I also would like to congratulate the mayor and our 2 council colleagues, Councilwoman Ponferrero and Councilwoman DeYoung, on their winning re-election. I think that's wonderful. I will also like to thank Derek Ambrosino, sorry, for his efforts, and looking forward to working with him on other projects. And I'll even throw in congratulations to Perry Albanese. He won, that's great. So we're looking forward to working with them. The only other thing I have, if everybody will bear with me here for a second. If it works.
Shut up. You're too sweet. Oh, look at Paul's looking fun. It's mine. Today. This is, yes. This is my present.
See? Happy
Thank
birthday.
you, thank
You're
you.
welcome. That's all I have.
Thank you. The only comment I have, other than thank you, is that the Thanksgiving market, you forgot to mention the Thanksgiving market, is going to be held at Windward Beach on November 20th from 8:30 to 1:30. It was huge last year, so get there early and buy up all the great products from local vendors. Christmas is not canceled, by the way. We have lots of great local vendors, and we'd love to have you come out and see their wares and purchase some good items for Christmas. So having said that, brings our meeting to an end. Our next scheduled meeting will be held on Tuesday, November 23rd at 7 p.m. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second?
Second?
All in favor? This meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening.